Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. It feels like a Wednesday. I know for sure it's a day ending in Y if you speak, in the English language. And you look at a calendar, and it's always good to be able to get over the week as we go into what probably is a promising day. Well, they say, it's all in the magic. If you watch football, you know how it happens. I got a chance to share with you as we invite this opportunity to sometimes, pour a toast to the life that keeps on giving. So, our good friends over at Tortuga and Coca-Cola.
Yes, Tortuga and Coca-Cola. My name's Paige Walton. I'm marketing executive there at Tortuga. And then we have
Vicky Phillip, brand manager Coca-Cola at Tortuga.
It's interesting that sometimes when we look at sports in particular, and more when we think of brand loyalty, brand management, imaging, messaging, and the like, that increasingly we did that at one point unconsciously. But now, given the global village in which we find ourselves, both as individuals and as corporate entities, the idea that your brand translates almost synonymously across all market segments. And what I joke and say seems like a very long time ago. I would even say centuries. Your unveiling, of the can, specifically with the coat of arms.
Yeah.
There are many people for whom they wanted to get a couple of them as souvenirs, as gifts to send to family.
We actually sent some overseas to people. There was also a big collector in Italy. He has almost pretty much every Coca-Cola can, and we actually sent him one too when that first release.
And it's amazing to see that, and I've always intrigued as to, Dario was here with us the last time we were chatting, and he's like, my mama called my name. How did that come? If I could, because I promised someone I would ask this question today. We know from what we gathered that getting the coat of arms or any sort of the insignia to be able to use seemed to be a daunting process way back when. We've sort of made some adjustments, and hopefully it creates greater pride. But to get that branded on a can, specifically for this market, almost an amazing feat.
Yeah, a big feat for us to do. It was when we took on Coca-Cola, we knew that was something that we wanted to start with to make a huge impact with the brand. And actually, we had great support from the government. We had to get government permission to actually use the coat of arms on the can to be sold as well. So yeah, we had really good support on that though. So we're very happy with how that
as well, wasn't it? But
got
there.
How long? We're not talking about school too much. Like how long? We're talking minutes or centuries?
No, it was a few months. It definitely was. Just back and forth with Coca-Cola, the main headquarters and everything. So yeah, it did take us a while, but we were happy to get there in the end.
And that was just for this market.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So
and it was just for that time too.
Yeah. So limited edition makes that thing that much more appealing. And it's not just for me a good marketing sort of approach. It actually positions as an ambassador almost what a country could be. Irrespective of how you look at certain things, it's good for us.
Yeah. I mean, it's something with growing up here, you always see these adverts of look underneath the cap to win this. And you just wish you could be kind of a part of that, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
we finally got a huge brand like Coca-Cola to do that with us. It just felt good that finally it's happening, you know.
And I commend you for that. And it's,
Thank you.
It's something that I think, reflecting on a conversation I've been having increasingly with different people, the need for all who live and work here, or whether we've been here for generations because of, you know, our lineage, or whether it's something that's only in recent decades or even months.
Yeah,
Let's contribute to making this place as elevated as possible.
exactly.
By us being as civil,
Yeah.
as sobering, as committed to the society. And it just makes me swell with pride to
Yeah.
see what we could have if we worked together.
Yeah, exactly. It is. It's quite. It's nice to see Cayman getting more and more on the world stage, becoming like keeping up to date. You know, keeping up with everything happening is really good.
And interestingly, I think if we would have harkened, like I use that as an example, and thank you so much to help us to appreciate as we craft this narrative of what it could be for us, from sponsorship to promotion, from some as ambassadors to, you know, being sort of the innovators, right?
Yeah.
If we go back to our seafaring heritage, from the early days of the turtlers and the catboats to those who went into the ship, you know, as a wiper and emerged as the captain, there's that industriousness, that resilience that's within us. And we need to appreciate that we've always been on the world stage, but for some reason we never allowed ourselves to be respected. We never promoted because, well, oh, there you go bragging again. It's not bragging, it's, you know, if you it's taking pride, man.
Exactly. Yeah, and the can definitely helped a lot with that. We really are very proud of that.
All right, so share with us, because I think oftentimes we look, as we're inferring, internationally, sometimes even regionally, to accomplishments, and we should celebrate. At least in my mind, if someone achieves something positive, you don't need to know that person to be, you know, have a sense of accomplishment and feeling good. Look at that thing. That person just ran 100 meters in 5 seconds.
Exactly.
And it doesn't mean that you can do it, but it was done. No, to the best of my knowledge, no one has run that yet. Despite
Well, really, I thought you had the record.
Well, it was 5.1, but I'm working on it. But to achieve great feats, you know, we as a people could celebrate. You know, irrespective of whether you think about buying it, you know, or trying to build a Tower of Babel, we can do things if we do it together. So what does that mean for us now with the branding, with the positioning, with the Christmas season? I mean...
Well, that's it. You came... great segue right into that.
I do for a living.
What, really?
One of these ending away.
Well, we are actually here to talk about our Coca-Cola Christmas Parade. And I'm sure many of... Well, you and many of the listeners know that this is actually an international thing that we've finally brought to the Cayman Islands. This is our third one now. It's been happening all over the world for many, many years, and it's something that signifies Christmas is finally here, and we are on this world stage, keeping up to it. Coca-Cola loves seeing our pictures for it too. It's great.
And that is where I want us to understand that just like our students who may travel for university or some other secondary schooling, they're ambassadors. Just like when we ourselves are seconded by our offices to another jurisdiction, we're ambassadors. But we're also ambassadors when we're working within our country, and it doesn't matter whether that person is now a first time or a long time repeat visitor, or just someone who's now taking up employment. The way we interact with others, we're ambassadors for the entity, for ourselves, for our country.
Exactly.
That brand loyalty and that sort of what is it? I think my friends in marketing talk about, you know, the way we segment and we complement each other. So from that perspective, we learn how to work together on a global scale by ensuring that we emphasize the local impact. So what does this mean for Cayman as we look at, you know, the Coca-Cola Christmas in Cayman?
Well, it means that Christmas definitely is here for sure. I mean, it's a fantastic event that we do through it. It's perfect for kids and adults.
Giving back to the community. Everything,
it's fantastic for that.
And we know many times too that for companies, it's not just the potential tax benefit in those jurisdictions where or the corporate goodwill. It sometimes is a reflection of the ethos within the employees, where their entity want to impact their communities, right, Ms. Page?
Yeah, that's actually exactly it. This is nothing.
Thanks for sharing those with me.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't something that we make money off of or anything. This is actually coming straight from the actual employees there, from our general manager. He loves this event. This is something that's very close to our hearts. And then we do have AI, our sponsors, that they give us everything for free just because they want to be part of this and just to, give back to the community.
Such a fun event
It
as
is a great event. Yeah.
That cross-pollination and that partnerships from different entities making a meaningful impact. All right, when we come back from this break, let's tell people more and be specific about what we achieved, how we can be a partner, and understand that together, especially now with so much that has happened within our own shores, within the last little bit of time, not even the last 2 centuries as I talk about, just in the last 2 weeks or last 3 weeks. Maybe that spirit of giving, that spirit of festivity that we would want to have, normally would have, we just don't feel it.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if we can feel the magic.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Join us after the break. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
The MedLab family would like to wish the entire Cayman Islands community a very Merry Christmas.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Did you know that ValueMed Pharmacy has a free online prescription service? Managing your health and medical requirements has never been easier with ValueMed. Simply visit value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com and click the Refill Prescriptions tab on our website. Fill in the information for new prescriptions or refills and choose your preferred pickup location. ValueMed on Walkers Road or Town. Then bring in your original prescription from your doctor when picking up. There's no need to stand in line and wait for your prescription. Save time and pick up prescriptions at your convenience by visiting value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Increase your chance to win during the Rubis Pure Joy promotion. Don't miss Top Up Tuesdays at Jose's Rubis. Reflections offers you gas for less. Earn a stamp each time you spend $25 at Jose's Rubis. Collect all 8 stamps and you're entered to win cash, laptops, phones, and smart TVs during the Rubis weekly giveaways. Plus a grand prize of a piece of land in Grand Cayman, valued at $150,000.
What? Are you serious?
Ensure that you're healthy and fit before you visit with family and friends. Reflections offers 2 lateral flow test kits or 10 stylish black surgical masks for only $10. Purchase Reflections gift certificates for your loved ones and get entered to win a $150,000 piece of land during the Rubis Pure Joy promotion at Jose's Rubis.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Dwayne Porter will be taking appointments from November 2nd to 10th at his Crew Road office. Clinic appointment slots are limited. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email dr.portercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That is 946-9020.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
I've called it Coca-Cola Christmas in Cayman.
Yeah, the Coca-Cola Christmas parade. That's what it is.
No, hey, it's great, especially at this time of year, to not only have these discussions, but these opportunities. And it's part of why, within me, I've always believed that this time of year, maybe in the Cayman context, it's the Christmas breeze. So that kind of cools things up and cools people off. Maybe it's the notion that there is a particular, for want of a better word, spirit and temperament that permeates the air and makes even those of us who otherwise may harbor some, animosity or ill feeling to kind of chill for a second and come together. Part of why I always thought that, again, people may say, oh, it's not a good reflection of a work ethic. But there should be a national ghost store so we can go to the festivities, from the church plays to the Christmas concerts at school, to the backyard barbecues that seem to last from, one day to the next week. And give people a chance to fellowship.
Yeah.
And maybe when I become governor, as I joke publicly, from the 23rd of December to the 4th of January, we'll have that national ghost store.
Listen, Sterling for governor.
His Excellency, he's at that again. But it's the love that I think we can find in our communities and the time to fellowship, the invitations to come up. But you provided something through your entity to bring the public to be charitable, to understand the spirit of giving, and to fellowship. So, through you, Ms. Page, first, then Ms. Page.
Well, next week, Tuesday on the 20th, is going to Christmas parade. It starts at 5:30 till 9. We'll be making tons of stops. Well, not tons, but
I think it's like 999.
Those 7 stops along
close.
Cayman. We'll be giving out a ton of
We
toys.
got about 500 toys to give away and Coca-Cola products. And
we even have Santa Claus out there, too. So all the kids really enjoy it. And even the adults. The adults love it, too.
Yeah, and I think that's where, share with us the stops, the parade, the route, the toys, especially
So we're starting at 5:30 at the Turtle Farm, and then we go all the way down to the fire station. We'll stop at Governor's Beach as well. Then Cardinal Avenue, Windsor Park, which is a big one, Country and Western, and then we finish at South Sound Dock.
Yeah,
and it's a parade.
Yeah, it is.
It's about.
We have a DJ on there. We have lights covered for the float as well as our entire Coca-Cola fleet. Yeah. And people on our little elves, we're going to get dressed up to be on on there. So it's a really great event. We're very happy to be part of it.
Yeah, I applied to be an elf, but I didn't meet the height requirement.
The height requirement.
Come on next year when you grow a little.
Yeah.
No, but it's that idea that you bring in something that's transparent international. Paid you a reference that it's not just here.
No.
Is it going to be the same day in every jurisdiction, or are we just picking a day?
No, it's not the same day in every jurisdiction. It does change up. It's going to be around the same week every year for us. Definitely. Last year was the Monday to this year's Tuesday. But just different places do it. It just all depends on when they want to, but I know it's around the same time because you have to do it before Christmas. When it's like the perfect time to do it, right? Like these weeks, it's now everyone's going to really get into the Christmas spirit.
And this is kind of why I keep saying to people that I know whether you work hospitality, whether you're in finance, it doesn't matter where you work. There are a lot of increasing demands on us as the entity providing a product or service, as the employee, whether you're the manager, whether you're the new hire. And if we can step back from that at times, and it wasn't that long ago when these things transpired, we were by the roads waving, or we were part of the parade. We were, marching with with our friends and family. We were listening to that church choir come through. This could be part of that recognition.
That's
and
true,
bringing joy to others, and not just a tradition, but something that's meaningful.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is our tradition now for sure. I do remember, growing up, there would be carolers on the back. I've done that once too. And then Cayman Brack, we would have the Santa Claus come on the back of an actual pickup truck. So it's nice that we're elevating it a bit, but it's all for the community.
Yeah. Maybe one day we'll be able to do the parade, from here, and then we just continue on to the Brack.
Yeah. One day when that bridge gets built, right?
Yeah, it's proposed. Soon come.
Yeah.
But no, hopefully, as you always endeavor to make sure that what transpires in the Grand Cayman market can also be duplicated on Cayman Brac.
Yeah.
And it's just logistics at times.
Yeah, it is logistics. It is something that we are looking to in the future for sure. We just want to make sure we get this down pat. And yes, in the future, we know we'd love to bring it out to the eastern districts. And then, something like Cayman Brac would be a fantastic idea.
And again, it speaks to my thought process of why it's so important for us as a country to embrace. I don't get there often, but I sometimes feel like we're doing ourselves a disservice when we fail to appreciate what transpires in the Brac was what Cayman is and was and should be. The community gets involved and behind in something, whether it's a sitting of the court or the legislative assembly or there's a national event. It's not because the population is a fraction of what's here. It's the fact that the population understands that this is a community initiative, it's civic engagement, and so if we don't participate, then it's only us. We got a call, Miss Susan? All right. Well, is this the caller to bring lunch? Because, I mean, it's lunchtime. No, it's good. All right. We're going to talk. Well, can I invite you to put on, those wonderfully budgeted headsets that we have there? Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Yes, Sterling. I'm bringing a chocolate.
Ooh, dark chocolate. Thank you. Listen, I know you always bring positivity, love, and smiles, and a wonderful spirit of festivity. So thank you for sharing with us.
Okay, good afternoon to your panel. Please forgive me for the two questions I'm going to ask you. If you can answer them, I appreciate it. If you can't, I understand. You were just mentioning where your parade would start and where your parade would end, right?
Yeah.
And I never heard anything about the eastern side. Do you all do a parade on the eastern side?
She just referenced, but Ms. Page?
Yeah, we were just talking about that, actually. It is something that we are in talks about for possibly next year. But right now, we're trying to get this one down packed and get it all organized, and then we'll be taking it other places as well.
So didn't you have, this is how many years now, 2 years or 3 years that you all been doing the Coca-Cola?
It's our third year.
On the third year, and you haven't got fully situated yet to go to the eastern side.
No, ma'am.
Because that's not good to an extent. Those people up there would like to see something exciting.
Definitely. But like we said, this will be an annual thing. It's a tradition that we'll be bringing on for many years to come. So we definitely have that in our thoughts. We do appreciate that sentiment, though.
Yeah.
Yes. And my next question is, Tortuga is the distributor for Coca-Cola, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. I am just curious to ask, why is it that at the Tortuga store the Pepsi Cola is for $1.50 and the Coca-Cola is $1? Is it because you're all trying to promote Coca-Cola more than Pepsi?
Well, there is that aspect to it too, but also with Pepsi not being our brand, that's the price that they sell it to. Well, they sell it at a price to us, and we have to obviously sell it then on, and we have to take that into account.
Well, I don't want to be rude to you or anything, but you can go to the store and get a Pepsi for 98 cents, and then you can go to the gas station for $1.10.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
But anyhow, I just had to ask a question. It really bothers me because I'm a Pepsi drinker, but I had to stop to a degree. Sterling,
yes, ma'am.
Have open line. I'll call you back.
Yes, ma'am. And thank you too.
Have a good one on your parade. I will not
thank
be
you
because I'm in the district of Bordentown. So.
Well, maybe next year then we'll see you out.
Hopefully.
Thank you.
All the best.
Okay. God bless, ma'am. Thank you. But this shows you that there's a market with informed consumers who are quite willing to share a perspective. But as you said, Ms. Page, this is something that you want to be able to expand, not just to the districts in Grand Cayman, but hopefully eventually to the sister islands.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I said, it's ongoing tradition that we have in our mind. It's something dear to our hearts. We're not going to just let this be where the only places we go. We love Cayman, obviously, as our home. So
we did say that next year we'd be doing something up in Bordentown, Eastern Districts, North Side.
Yeah, and I look at the traffic woes that we face every day.
Yeah.
And you've been very, I think, explicit in saying, we want to add to the festivity and not the frustration.
Yeah.
And so if there are more of us that as a national ethos, can find time this time of year where we're not expecting that store to be open because we are off, but we ourselves are not off because the expectations of the customer. We need to have that proper mix. And if there are less of us who are available to be festive, we can be across the country and not be frustrated. All right, we got a last break to take. Do you want to come back and share more with us, Miss Page, or you need to get back to work?
Yeah, like, yeah, I know. They're going to be like calling us soon.
You were having so much fun with that boy. You better come back to work. All right, well.
Yeah, we do hope to see a lot of you guys out there later on Tuesday.
On Tuesday the 20th.
Yeah.
All right, well, I trust that it will not only be a resounding success, but a very safe and enjoyable time for all. And that as a people, we look at things and see what's the positive, how we can add greater value and joy, especially at this time of year. And I know one or two of us going to have a big, dig really deep because we're feeling a bit heartbroken. But nonetheless, it's about giving love.
Yeah, and a lot of kids out there might not even get a gift this year. So this is one of the things that we really think about.
Well, thank you both. Thank you for the smiles.
Thank
you for the bright red blue.
Thank you so much, though.
It's a pleasure, and see you very soon, hopefully.
Yeah. Yes,
definitely. Right. Well, let's come back with some open line. We have something scheduled for 1, but I'm told, don't count your chickens before they hatch unless you're making scrambled eggs. And open line when we return for a few minutes. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Savannah Pharmacy saved my life.
Really? Was it the medication they got you?
No, not this time. I forgot my wife's birthday. They were the perfect place for last-minute shopping.
That's one way to give yourself heart failure. Don't wait last minute for Christmas. Savannah Pharmacy is stocked up for Christmas right now. Gifts for men, women, and children. Home decor, clothes, toys for all ages, fragrances, candles, handbags, and so much more. I was there the other day, and trust me, they'll even wrap all your presents too.
Savannah Pharmacy, a lifesaver in more ways than one.
Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village provides you with more than just prescriptions. Always just around the corner with everything your family needs for this holiday season. WhatsApp your prescription refills to 929-5045.
JN Money touchdown. Send the money now. Reach wow. You say you need some money, JN Money, I can send it in a hurry. Get through quick when you come collect your cash, or use your money card and swipe it in a flash. Send funds to any bank, Pay your bills quick, Low fees, it, JN Money, we are pick, Send and receive funds at any JN Money location. It's fast, affordable, and convenient. Money touchdown with JN Money. Send funds to any bank, Pay your bills quick, Low fees, it, JN Money, we are pick,
Call 345-945-2014 for details. Available at JN Money locations across the Cayman Islands.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vant Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vant Motors, Walkers Road.
The Kirk Freeport Christmas Sweepstakes is back again, and for our 50th anniversary, we are giving away $50,000 in cash and prizes. Win one of 3 $5,000 cash prizes, a daily cash prize of $1,000, the Rolex draw on January 4th, or loads of other great prizes. Every purchase of $100 before noon on Christmas Eve qualifies for all remaining prize draws. Win your share of $50,000 of cash and prizes in the Anniversary Sweepstakes. Full details on KirkFreeport.com. Merry Christmas from everyone at Kirk Freeport.
Water Authority Cayman wishes to advise its valued customers of the following holiday hours at both its Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac offices. Friday, December 23rd. Office hours 8:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. Cashier will close at 11 a.m. Office will reopen on Wednesday, 28th December. And on Friday, 30th December. Office hours 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon. Cashiers will close at 11 a.m. Office will reopen on Tuesday, 3rd January 2023. The board, management, and staff of the Water Authority wish its customers and the public a safe and healthy holiday season.
but I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thank you for joining us. And I'm going to start not by singing in a Christmas carols, because I think what was the ICTA and now its iteration would probably call Miss Norm and say, listen, now, we don't mind you playing music, and we love the idea that we can compensate the artists, through royalties and the like. But if your talk show host, including the one in the morning, starts to sing, we got to cite you. So we won't do that. But what we will do is present a very joyful, winning, loving sense that imbues in us that positivity, that notion that especially this time of year, despite how difficult it might be financially and otherwise, I honestly know that it's challenging. Trust me, I can tell you with empathy, I understand that. But as a friend reminded me earlier, says, we live for the living, we honor, respect, love, and appreciate the service and sacrifice of those who have gone beyond. But now, for them as much for us, let us try to draw alongside and show that love, that support, that care, commitment, and true compassion and concern. We can bring each other to a greater sense of celebration. It doesn't mean that you're smiling all the time. It doesn't mean that you're not hurting. It doesn't mean that you necessarily want to partake of that wonderful meal that you look forward to every year at this time of year. But it means that you're still mindful that we are in a space and a place, and we've got to continue to be of service and make the necessary sacrifices so the society continues, and that for generations to come, our efforts have been a meaningful, positive, profound contribution. A tall order, especially now, but let's see if I support you, you support me, together. What I say, one cocoa fill basket, right? So 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Some open line until the headline news at 1, and thereafter, James Jambo Myers has helped us to facilitate a discussion, hopefully to bring not just recognition, but perhaps, sunshine to certain discussions. Having shared that, well, in the midst of much and in the absence of plenty, there are those who may still feel the need to give of their little because they give it in love. Doesn't mean that there aren't some concerns that need ventilating. So would you want to share with us what's on your mind, even this time of year? We know that as our Legislative Assembly, meets and the parliamentarians come together to debate, there are probably going to be lines drawn in the sand simply because of partisan politics. But there may also be some through personal antics and otherwise may decide to posture in order to present to our populace this whole notion that there are certain policies that need to be promulgated in order for them to retain that level of power, position, prestige, and even for some pay. But having said that, they still need to be accountable, to a conscience. They still need to be mindful that their true exercise of democracy lies in the pen, not only on the ballot day, but through the prose that may emanate from those who are so inclined to share, whether through poetry or song, or other times it may be a painting depicting certain things that have transpired in a society. The question is that democracy one that is healthy and is celebrated, is not only revered and respected, but is one that's championed in such a way that we understand that whether it's the close of business day and something is being foisted upon the public, or whether it's at the end of the year when people are distracted by so much, are we still vigilant? And is it that we see, as is the case with many, that despite it's quitting time because the whistle blows at 5, you still have work to do and you're willing to do it to get it done, irrespective of your contracted hours of engagement. You have that commitment to do the job because it is your personal ethos to do the best job and to get it done. Now, there are many of us who will say, well, it's getting close to year end or quitting time for the day or for the week so that I can start tomorrow. Different strokes for different folks. But if it is that some are inclined to do things under the cover of darkness, as they say, are we mindful to be attentive? And whether it's an egregious act that is being done willingly, or whether it's just something that ostensibly is being done because we're, absent-minded. We don't mean any ill will, but it doesn't mean that the consequence isn't such. Vigilance, they say, must always, be front and center when we're the gatekeepers, when we're those who are advocating for a sense of justice. Many of us are indeed justice-centric, but for some, we're unwilling to stand in the gap because we fear being disinvited. We fear that we may be dispossessed of some accolade or sometimes denied some access simply because we stood in the gap. Well, Burke reminds us that evil prevails when good men do nothing. How many of us are prepared to ensure that we are in fact those good people, those good men and women who champion what is right and just and what is fair and what necessarily isn't about equal share but about equity. We all can contribute. That doesn't mean that we all contribute equally. For some, $1 is all that they have, and for some, $1 million is just pocket change. But it doesn't mean that you can't give willingly and lovingly and cheerfully, as the scripture reminds us. Now, there will be others who would contend it doesn't really matter how you give as long as you give. There are those of us who would say, well, no, just like a meal that is served with love, it may not be a lot, but it's nourishing and filling, satisfying, because it has that love when it was prepared and when it was served, as opposed to that buffet that is, so overflowing that the table is breaking, but yet is done begrudgingly. Well, we need to think of how we do things, why we do it, when we do it, and is there an ulterior motive that is for recognition? Not unlike, this parable over here where, there's the clanging of coin when the offering is, and then there is that very, very sheepishly approach to, drop as unknowingly and unobservable as possible that small token into the offering plate, because that's all you have. While we're told that he who gives without willing heart sometimes is perhaps more desired than the person who makes a big noise and draws attention to that thing. Well, we can point fingers at others and say, yep, that's an example of that person. The question is, do we reflect on our own actions, thoughts, and the like, and question whether or not that person could also be us? A lot to think about. It's not necessarily philosophical nor pensive, but it's just a particular, proposition that we want you to consider, especially this time of year. Again, appreciating that it's going to be challenging for every conceivable reason for many to be able to be festive. So we may draw alongside and sit quietly. No gifts needed to be exchanged. Sometimes it may be challenging to sip on that, freshly husked coconut water, or it may be that you don't care for a little bit of swanking. You don't want a piece of the cassava cake. You don't feel for the turtle meat or whatever it is your favorite fare at this time of year. It just means that you sit and quietly fellowship and be there. Or sometimes you may have to say to your friend, hey, let's take a drive east then. Let's go sit in the quiet of the park. Let's go in the boat, sit on the back porch. Let's just go in the sunshine. Whether they're wheeled outside, whether you draw alongside and you embrace them in hand or in arms, but you show that love and kindness. And that probably is what it's all about at this time of year. And for some, it's going to be like I was depicted, where we're all going to be counting as much coin as possible because we're so happy that the bottom line has been bolstered so much because of our profits. Well, what is it that we're told? How should a profit a man to gain the world and lose his soul? Well, we question that at times. 8949-8837. Toll free with the kind compliments of flow at 1-800-534-TALK. That's 1-800-534-8255. Or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. And as this WhatsApp message earlier, as I read, came through and was asking a couple of questions, we see how some individuals increasingly ask, where is it in our country that we are willing to, not only ask the difficult questions, but more importantly, demand that there are honest, timely answers. And the person's message was following on from a conversation that was transpiring earlier, Mr. Art's show, For the Record, this morning. If you missed it, go back on YouTube and listen to it. This is why every evening I say, make sure to join him, because he brings much clarity and conversation to a lot of the topics, and it may be more convenient for you because of your work schedule to engage in the morning show, and that positions us to be better informed. Mr. Art's comments that when we're looking at public transport and its absence doesn't necessarily dictate that we can impose certain conditions on road users and the like. Now that may create a lot of discussion amongst us relative to, what a state can and should do relative to its citizens. And it's not necessarily an easy answer. If you look as perhaps a compelling example as to what is transpiring globally, but within the UK, that bastion of freedom and democracy, that place of great diplomacy that is championed much in terms of human rights, where its government is sharing that there needs to be some level of restriction, increased restrictions on a person's ability. Now that's the singular person apostrophe S. I do not and will not, unless it's a legal document, pluralize the word. You can take that if you wish or not. It's people, and that's how I stand by it. But when a person is impeded from demonstrating in a democracy, we need to question what it is. But by the same token, with that freedom, should there be a corresponding responsibility to ensure that it's exercised in a civil manner. Perhaps it's a discussion we may have after our guests leave, that we open the mics up again. But give it some thought, because it's going to play out in a way that we may not necessarily like. All right, let's pause and take that break and come back for some more discussion right after the news.
Today's biggest news.
Radio K-Man.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio K-Man's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins. The Ministry of Education advises the public that its office will close at 11:30 a.m. on Thursday, December 15th to facilitate a staff function. Regular operations will resume on Friday, December 16th at 8:30 a.m. In international news, U.S. lawmakers have proposed a ban on TikTok, the social media app known for its short viral videos, citing concerns about national security. The bipartisan bill is the latest move in the U.S. against the company, which is owned by Chinese tech giant ByteDance. Last month, the head of the FBI voiced concern that China could use the app to influence users or control their electronics. Several U.S. states have banned it from government devices. China is facing problems with stockpiling after it relaxed its most severe COVID-19 policies last week. People have been rushing to buy ibuprofen, cold medicines, and COVID testing kits amid reports of shortages. Products for home remedies are now largely unavailable online, including lemons and canned peaches rich in vitamin C and electrolyzed water. Hoarding has been a common global issue, but this may be the first instance of it after lockdowns were eased. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio K-Man on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio K-Man app or log on to our website, radiokman.gov.ky.
Radio K-Man is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands. Hinton Roxroy Connolly was born in Creek, Kimmebrack on 9th September 1937. Fondly known as Big H to his family and friends, following a 5-year career at sea, Mr. Hinton returned to Kimmebrack, taking up work with Brack Power and Light Company for 3 years prior to moving to Grand Cayman, where he commenced employment with Cable and Wireless in March 1966. Big H would eventually move back to Kimmebrack, working his way up from a linesman to a supervisor throughout the 29 years of employment with Cable and Wireless, eventually retiring in August 1994. Following his retirement, Mr. Hinton continued to do electrical work for the many people of Kimmebrack. Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your Sister Islands.
Discover all that our Sister Islands have to offer.
They say variety is the spice of life. And that's why at Subway, we're introducing the new Boneless Hot Sub. Say what? The premium sub brings new ingredients like spicy breaded boneless chicken, French's crispy fried onions, and buffalo wing sauce, bringing a zesty and flavorful experience with every bite. Add some of your favorite veggies, cheese, and ranch sauce of your choice of freshly baked bread for the ultimate boneless hot sub. For a little spice in your life, try the new boneless hot sub from Subway.
So good and tasty.
And make it a meal with a drink and chips or cookies. Subway. Eat fresh.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day.
Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. And thanks for joining us. A couple of minutes more of some open line. And in a few minutes, we'll get a chance to join you have you join us, I should say, for a discussion. I feel like going somewhere right now. You know where I want to be? All right, well, our guests are here, but sometimes you just need to be able to put things in play. And we're going to invite you to be a part of a conversation for a few more minutes of open line if you want to share a thought with us. 949-8037, toll free with the kind compliments of flow at 1-800-534-8255. Of course, you can WhatsApp 925-3261. As we were going into the break, we were talking about the idea that increasingly we want to ensure that we live in a society that there are freedoms to demonstrate. Now, that does not mean that it has to be unruly, has to be threatening, menacing, or in a way that some people may look at as creating a sense of unsafe space. There are those who would share that governments, and we speak to governments in what seemingly are otherwise democracies. To our callers that are ringing, just give us a quick second before we can answer your line. Susan is just attending to something quite urgently, but keep calling. We'll answer it momentarily. And this is the beauty of the wonderful team that we have here, the ability to multitask and to achieve things with great efficiency. Now, as we're looking at the democracies and many governments in those democracies sharing that people probably need to be restricted in how they can protest and where they can protest. And for some of us, we accept it, and for others go, well, that is something that if that happened in other places, we would say that's, a semblance of a totalitarian regime. So should that occur? Well, we need to be mindful. So the caller just then that was ringing, if you ring us back again, we will be happy to answer it. It's just challenging at times to, put the blue wire to the white wire, to the red wire, to the green wire. It's just how it is, right? So that level of, respect and consideration and patience, I don't know if, I always possess it, so I'll try. But you can call and share, and we can talk about that later on as well if you want to, or another issue. But it is something that has been increasingly, brought to my attention that we need to be mindful that when we as a populace protest, whether that's something that we write publicly, whether we speak it and share it in a public forum, and especially where we may believe that there's a sense that we shared here that it remains anonymous. And perhaps those are the dangers that we should be mindful, where people say things and feel as if they can have a certain level of misplaced courage because there is an inner level of responsibility or accountability for what they share. And perhaps government's response is that we restrict that, and then people might accept it because that was an irresponsible act. Well, when those rights are lost and those freedoms are curtailed, it may be impossible, or certainly very difficult, to then get them back. Where's that balance? So interesting to see how that is increasingly seem to be things that are happening. But by the same token, the notion that more and more citizens are being engaged, are questioning their government's policies, their actions as well as their inactions, their glaring failures at times to address an issue, to vote necessary public funds to do something, to improve something, to prevent something. And if it's a democracy, it shouldn't be a case where we wait for the elected people or the appointed people. It should be a case that if something is important, we do as a people, so that we don't become dependent on the handouts of government or the promises of the politician. Take, for instance, a community initiative to say, wait a minute, over here in this particular area, you have, an illegal garbage dump being formed. Now, the wider community could say, well, look like that's the garbage dump now, and we all go there and dump our garbage. Or we might say, wait a minute, that's not how we do things. If that's going to be the garbage dump, it needs to be done properly, safely, both from the health perspective, but perhaps from the perspective that, wait a minute, this is not a behavior that we want to occur. And there are many examples throughout history where those behaviors were not curtailed, and we saw what happened to those societies from the outbreak of different diseases and the like. Well, we don't want that to happen here. So if the community rallies together and puts a stop to it, physically remove the illegal dumping site and have the garbage taken away properly at somebody's cost, time, money, but it benefits the wider community as opposed to everybody grumbling about it, turning a blind eye to it, and then what literally was just a molehill becomes a mountain, as opposed to making a lot of noise about something. What they say, making a mountain out of a molehill. Well, sometimes we ignore the molehill, that small little egregious act that we think is simple. All of a sudden one day becomes so entrenched that now we can't address it anymore. Well, we can wait for the government, or we can act as a community. And it may not just be the illegal dumping of garbage or the increasing disposal of vehicles along the roadway. It could be the things that we say, they're just petty crime. Well, it's unfortunate that we call white lies and petty crime. If there are acts that affect people, they should be so significant that we don't accept it within our society. Again, if we turn a blind eye, that concept of the broken windows may come into play. Well, what are we doing about it? And I share that especially this time of year, to what extent are people going without food and fellowship? Now, it may be that they fall in hard times because of their own foolishness. They weren't willing to heed good advice. Don't take your rent money, your mortgage money, and spend it over here. Maybe it's some other reason, but we can still draw alongside them in cash and in kind, and extend also a helping hand, an act of kindness to help them to come in the new year and be supported and nurtured, so that that new leaf that they turn over helps to build them, so that a year hence they could be on the side of giving as opposed to on the side of receiving. Each one building up another who then appreciates that investment and then reinvests in someone else. And it may take a lifetime, but if it's done consistently on a concerted basis, it may actually make a meaningful difference. Well, some would say, that's just naive. Well, it may be. But what is best? to bless someone and wish them well, or to curse, argue, and constantly rant and rave. Talk is cheap, they say. All right, I think our guests are now ready, Miss Susan. Should we pause and invite them, and by extension, you as well, to be part of that next discussion? So stay tuned for Talk Today.
How do you turn your house into a home for the holidays?
Well, by getting your home furnishings and accessories from Tomlinson Furniture and the Mattress Gallery. Whether entertaining large parties or having a cozy Christmas, Tomlinson Furniture has a wide selection of pieces perfect for your purpose. Shop now until Christmas Eve and be entered to win weekly prizes. For daily specials, follow our Facebook and Instagram pages. Wishing our faithful customers a happy holiday season. Visit Tomlinson Furniture and the Mattress Gallery in the Tomlinson Building, corner of Hospital and Walkers Road.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointments.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
The MedLab family would like to wish the entire Cayman Islands community a very Merry Christmas.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic. Your life connected.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips for all occasions and celebrations. Let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon and welcome back. I think we should probably later on speak Westby. We can't parlez-vous français, but we can say tout en espagnol, see. James Jamo Miles, thank you again,
you
man.
want to talk Westby?
Yeah.
I'm not going to problem with that.
All right. I like the idea that for many of us this time of year in particular, we don't have to try very hard to be jovial. It's just that thing that is in the air. And then for some of us, we consciously do it because there's something else in the air. But Jamo, you always bring a winning smile and a wonderful spirit. And thanks again for helping us to not just facilitate this discussion, but be very mindful of who we are, what we are, where we are, and why we are where we are. Yeah. So, Jamo, to you first, then to Miss Jennifer. Let's go around the table, man. Thanks for reaching out.
I only here to promote young people and here to promote opportunities for people to invest in young people. So I brought with me today Miss Jennifer and some of the beauty queens from her pageant, which who will be going away to represent Cayman. So I promised you yesterday that you'd see another set of appeals. So here it is. Here's another great opportunity for people to invest in the lives of young people, especially those who are going away to represent our country.
Jamo kind of does that in a way. There's like, the DJ on air dropping the latest shot, So I'm going, he's in the 70s, shot. But that's kind of what we're doing, Miss Jennifer. So you wanted to pivot to Miss Jennifer, Jamo?
Yeah, it's her show.
It's her show?
Yeah.
All right. The Jennifer Show.
That's right. She will have the backdrop and everything.
You see it.
John, I'm happy to take over the show. We can change the name.
That's right. What will we change it to?
Let me see. Some time I'll get back to you on that.
Hanging out with Jenny.
Hanging with Jenny.
Yeah. I like going to that.
You like that, huh? Wow. Okay, so let's do it, given the House is in session properly. Do you have a motion? Yeah, is the House willing to entertain a motion? All those in favor? The show now therefore be...
All in favor, hold your eye.
Hold your eye. No, but that's the idea, though, that we can laugh, but we also understand the importance of drawing alongside. So, Jamo has passed the mic to you. So,
okay.
The chair now recognizes Miss Jennifer Elbass.
Thank you very much. It is an honor to be here again today. Thank you, Sterling, for having us. I'm not here today in the usual capacity that I'm here, but you will hear
Hence
a little
no
bit
orange.
No orange today. We are decked out in purple today.
I see orange.
I have a little orange pen. Always got to be representing Meals on Wheels somehow.
And I see orange-ish. Is that orange-ish leather?
Yes, it is.
See? I mean, I know like blue and orange. Well, anyway, I think I pretend I know colors.
So today, thank you all for having us. We are here representing the Cayman Our Little Miss organization. A lot of people would know Our Little Miss from many moons ago.
Mm-hmm.
Our Little Miss has actually been an international competition for 60 years. And started in Cayman in 2007. We've been on a bit of a hiatus, but we are happy to have returned as a natural children's competition, and not just little children, but women as well. So a lot of times people say, oh, I don't want my child to be involved in pageantry. There are definitely different sides to pageantry, and we want to talk a little bit about that today.
Mm-hmm.
The ages and the stages. I myself wanted to compete in a pageant when I was little, and I was not allowed. So I competed when I was 21.
You're still little, eh?
Young at heart, always.
That's what L is for. Jennifer L.
There we go.
Sorry.
But we have in studio with us today two of our queens. So in October, we held Cayman's Universal Beauty competition. And we have 7 young ladies who will be traveling to Houston, Texas in January to represent the Cayman Islands in their respective age categories. Mm-hmm. Some of them will be facing contestants from all over the world with maybe 40 or 50 girls in their age group. So we have been preparing. We want to thank the people who have helped the girls coach and be prepared for interviews. So today is their first radio interview, and hopefully we'll bring the little ones back another time, because they are usually the most entertaining, full of personality. So they also have a lot to teach us. But Our Little Miss is an opportunity for women of all ages to fulfill their dreams, to have personal growth, mm-hmm. and to really broaden their horizons. And I think that's one of the things we will hear about today, how being a part of this organization has already helped promote growth and giving back to our community in different ways as well.
So, Ms. Jennifer, through you, would you want to first introduce Miss Vanessa, perhaps?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, we have with us Miss Vanessa Burke. She is our, what age group are you again?
21 to 29.
Our 21 to 29 Cayman's Universal Beauty winner. So, for those of you who may hear Vanessa's name, she is definitely heavily involved in the community. And Our Little Miss is just another platform for her to really launch and expand and be challenged in different ways than she had ever imagined. And across the table, we have Miss Destiny Daly, again, no stranger to the public eye. But Destiny came into Our Little Miss, and it has been an honor for us to help her groom, and we hope that one day we will see her gracing other stages as well. Mm-hmm. And that is one of the things that we encourage our contestants, no matter how young, that this is a launching pad for whatever dream and visions you have.
And I think there's a lot to be said, for when we can draw alongside young people, nurture them, provide a safe environment that they can develop, that they can explore certain things and come on board. Jumbo, as a caller yesterday reminded us, you've done that from what seems like time immemorial, that natural affinity to empower, encourage, nurture, inspire, ensure that our youth see the world stage, recognize that they're a part of it, and they can so positively influence it as well as they serve as ambassadors for us.
Exactly. And these two young ladies really are ambassadors. Mm-hmm. And this pageant actually prepares them for it. Mm-hmm. And then there's other ways that people can prepare them for it, and I'll come alongside them and make sure that they know how to cook cassava cake, that they know how to pound almonds.
We know how to do that, don't worry.
And that they actually got an opportunity to sail in a catboat, because that was truly Caymanian.
Yeah, man.
Those kind of experiences they should be able to bring to the world stage, and then explain to people that exhilarating feeling of going 40 miles an hour, wind-aided, quiet, in a Cayman catboat that you can get nowhere else on planet Earth. So that's the kind of stuff that...
As fast as 40?
Yeah.
Wow.
It depends on the wind.
Yeah, I mean, I've been at that kind of fast, but not that fast. I don't think so. At least not on the better board.
I went that fast with Captain Cameron.
Yeah. Good stuff.
It was scary, to tell you the truth. Yeah. Because it started to feel like you could tip over, and you just got to lean back on the better board. And All I wait you
We'll have to invite you on our sale.
It really nice.
If my daughter's sailing, I'll rate
really
the
nice.
I'll rate that. But no, you're right.
Shout out to Captain Kim.
Yeah. And it's interesting. Perhaps, Miss Vanessa, you gingerly and gently and deliberately pull that mic closer to you, young lady. You just, there you go. Take control. If I can, true, Miss Jennifer, what is it that this pageant means to you? What do you sort of so far feel you've gotten from it? What do you bring to it? And could I then, after that, Mr. Esther, ask you the same thing as well? But share with us, Miss Vanessa.
So thank you for having me, first of all. I would say the foundation of this pageant and the reason why I entered is to represent young girls that look like me in our community. I feel like beauty is so much more than what we look on the outside and stereotypical expectations and societal norms. I do think that beauty is about your way to inspire others, your leadership qualities, and OLM has the foundation for that. I think in OLM we learn to express ourselves and be better versions of ourselves and cultivate that environment for that. It's not about fitting you into a certain category, it's about embracing who you are. And I think that is the main and key reason why I entered and the reason and the things that I've got out of it so far. It's been Miss Jennifer will tell you. I could not imagine I would be here. I probably would have ran off the stage if I did not have the training and the coaching as I went along. It is not the stereotypical pageant. You go through a lot of mental preparation and a lot of women empowerment. And that starts from the young age of little girls in the pageant just learning, to say their name very confidently, to our age group where it's about not just saying your name but letting people know who you are. And I think that's my key takeaway from the pageant.
Amazing. Those are things that many of us, unfortunately, even as adults in our own profession, sometimes don't truly embrace. And we may be confident as a lawyer, for instance, in the courtroom in front of a judge and a jury and you making this presentation, or that person, male or female, in front of the boardroom addressing the board of directors and CEO. But take us out of that environment, we fumble. Our best friend is being with that day and we're preparing a toast, and we know what we want to say, we have hearts full of love, but we're baffling. We're not because of the libation but because of the environment. So as I invite Miss Destiny into that discussion, learning those things at an early age, being confident, John would say being empowered. What about you, Miss Destiny?
Hey, thank you for having me. So I'm the Cayman Universal Beauty age 16 to 20, and this is actually my second pageant. Coincidentally, last year I entered Miss Teen, and this year I decided to enter another pageant because of all of the wonderful experiences that I've gotten. So I've realized from this pageant that it's a lot of self-improvement. I'm learning new avenues on how to do different things, such as you said, confidence in myself, being able to go out there and stand strongly on what I want to speak on. And I really appreciate the connections I can make with others my age when I go abroad, as well as those within the years here on island. So I like the idea where we have this thing called Team OLM, where we're going to hang out, we're going to connect with the younger youth, and I think being able to pass on what I've learned at this age and help those other young ladies grow is such a memorable experience.
Indeed. And then before I come back to Jumbo, Ms. Jennifer, as you prepare your team, not just for their local stage but the international, it would seem sometimes that we focus on male or female, young or young at heart. And I wonder to what extent we can take all of this and parlay in such a way that the benefits that accrue to that small subset is something that's embraced by the wider community. We start somewhere, the proverb, longest journey begins in a single step. But how do we get that buy-in so that this confidence, this level, of excellence is something that is shared, so that it becomes that cultural ethos that when we look with pride and we see the whole person as we sometimes label and malign even without trying. So what do we do, and how do we make sure that this is what we are?
Well, I think that this is a drop in our bucket. A lot of times we focus, I think, on the bigger pictures, the whole pictures of society. But investing in one person at a time is so critical. And all of these girls, and I hope they all feel this way, every single queen feels like they're my special person. They just don't know I'm treating everybody else the same way.
As we should treat them all special, right?
Everybody's my favorite.
Mhm.
And I think sometimes in our society, people feel put to one side. They don't feel like they stand out enough. They're not good enough. They're always compared. And I think one thing with the whole OLM family, it's not just here in Cayman. OLM is all around the U.S. and around the world. It is so important to invest in the individual person. And for that person to know you are valued exactly the way you are. One of the things that I always tell the girls is by the end of your reign, your sash should be dirty and your crown should be broken. Because when you win, it's not just about you as well. It is also turning that crown around and giving it back to your community. So we are preparing right now to head off to Houston, Texas in January for the international competition. However, we also are going to be investing in our own community. These girls will be out in schools. We're hoping to really focus on literacy, where younger people can come and sit with these queens. And it's not just about reading, but it is also building that confidence. And one of the things that exposes us more than anything in the world to build confidence is our knowledge. And a lot of times we don't sit and read anymore. We're on a device watching videos, but reading and building that and learning who you are, but sitting next to someone who can say, hey, I've been there, I understand it. Yeah. That I think is one of the critical ways that we can make this become the norm. It will take time, but a drop in the bucket is better than a stagnant pond.
Yeah, that is it. And I know, Jamo, that you have, much to attend to in your, sort of contractual commitments, as it were. But you've always been a champion for our youth. And we're going to take a break in a minute now. You let me know whether you have time to remain for the next 15 minutes or whether you need to head off, right?
Yeah, I think I'll just make a brief comment and bow out. But I want to take this opportunity to let the people know that all young people are valued and should be valued. And small investments go a long way. And whatever the appeal is today, whatever these young ladies need, please respond.
Yeah. We're building that, not just that bridge, that legacy. We're not just building our nation, but if we don't build a shared ethos where we look at each other and we see one thing, Caymanianness, that imbues love, respect, honor, integrity, humility, the things, the values and virtues that our parents and their parents instill, and we don't see instead the differences that we allow to divide us, but we see the love that should unify us. We'll have a community where we no longer look at people and assign labels that malign, but we assign and ascribe values that inspire. All right, when we come back from the break, it'll be absent,
Good job, anyhow, before I go.
But we can talk about it, right, Ms. Jennifer?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, if you have a call and you want to pose a question, 949-8037, toll free to compliments of Flo at 1-800-534-8255. Ms. Jennifer L. West, some will say the L is for love, but we'll see it, we'll feel it, we'll know it. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
The MedLab family would like to wish the entire Cayman Islands community a very Merry Christmas.
Savannah Pharmacy saved my life.
Really? Was it the medication they got you?
No, not this time. I forgot my wife's birthday. They were the perfect place for last-minute shopping.
That's one way to give yourself heart failure. Don't wait last minute for Christmas. Savannah Pharmacy is stocked up for Christmas right now. Gifts for men, women, and children. Home decor, clothes, toys for all ages, fragrances, candles, handbags, and so much more. I was there the other day, and trust me, they'll even wrap all your presents too.
Savannah Pharmacy, a lifesaver in more ways than one.
Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village provides you with more than just prescriptions. Always just around the corner with everything your family needs for this holiday season. WhatsApp your prescription refills to 929-5045.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
The Kirk Freeport Christmas Sweepstakes is back again, and for our 50th anniversary, we are giving away $50,000 in cash and prizes. Win one of three $5,000 cash prizes, a daily cash prize of $1,000, the Rolex draw on January 4th, or loads of other great prizes. Every purchase of $100 before noon on Christmas Eve qualifies for all remaining prize draws. Win your share of $50,000 of cash and prizes in the Anniversary Sweepstakes. Full details on KirkFreeport.com. Merry Christmas from everyone at Kirk Freeport.
We do a whole lot more than just cover your floor at Paramount Carpet.
Paramount Carpet Cayman Brac Christmas sale is back for 2 days only, Friday, December 16th and Saturday, December 17th, with 15% off in-store tiles, carpet, area rugs, paint, plumbing, windows and doors. Paramount Carpet Cayman Brac Christmas sale. It's back Friday, December 16th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturday, December 17th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Followed by the Children's Christmas Party at Spot Bay Park from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Paramount Carpet Cayman Brac, located at 342 Spot Bay Road. Call 948-2665.
We do a whole lot more than just cover your floor at Paramount Carpet.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. And thanks for joining us. And thanks to Ms. Jennifer West for helping us to appreciate what love can be like. And I say that hopefully people appreciate it's the agape love. That love that we have for each other to share in the care and to be our brother's keeper. You know, Mr. Arch in the morning shares much. And I think of all the great takeaways that he leaves us with is that reminder to be we are our brother's keeper. And it isn't the brother by the male, it's the societal brother. So together with Miss Destiny and Miss Vanessa, I think, Jennifer, we have an opportunity every day to make a meaningful impact. And sometimes we don't realize that impact is unfortunately negative. Let's see if we can, change that by now embracing what I think is one of the reasons why we got a Christmas breeze, to cool things out a little bit. Just saying, right? So, you will tell us more during the break. Let's hear. You go up in January to Houston. You're taking your wonderful, accomplished ladies with you.
Yes, we have a delegation headed to Houston, Texas on the 10th of January. And a shout out to the girls who are not in the studio with us. Mm-hmm. We have 7 queens. We have Miss Erin Conley. Mm-hmm. She is our 4-year-old. She's our tiny but very spunky queen. We have Cadelia Kelly, Mikia Weatherford, Amber Meralda, and Vanessa and Destiny are in studio. And our queen mother is Miss Dina Hides, and she is no stranger to us either. So a shout out to Miss Dina and wishing her a speedy recovery.
Yeah. See, and that's as you shared at the outset. We're talking all ages and stages.
Absolutely.
And as I think, Vanessa sort of reminded us, we need to look at beauty as whatever it is, and it's that thing that goes to the core, that smile that radiates through the eyes, that people see the love that's in our hearts. So as we ask, Ms. Destiny, Vanessa, from that perspective, this time of year in particular, there's much appeal from charities, from individuals. There's much demand on our times because we work in an organization where the customer needs to be served. That bank employee, for instance, it's 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, as it will be next week, as it will this week. The difference is the next day we're on the eve of Christmas, right? Or the eve before Christmas. And you want to be somewhere else, but you need to be there to do your work. Or you're working in the restaurants or the hotel and the customer. So with that demand in the time, how do we find that smile is with us to be of service, not servitude, but of service?
Well, at the core of OLM, I think all the girls that have gone through this pageant and us current queens, I think we are bounded to our saying that it is important to be nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. Yeah. And that is the core of our being, what we do. I think the pageant is not just about how we look, and that's just a small part of our society. I think at this time we have to be reminded that yes, it's Christmas, people are busy, it's a high season, but there's a lot of people that don't have, and there's a lot of people in this current climate in the economy that is struggling, and that can cause both emotional, financial stress. So I think it's time to be, as as Caymanians and others in our community, is this time to take the time to step back and be cautious of what we say, how we approach people, and just be reminded that we don't know anyone's full days, what they go home to. And this is an important time to just be nice, give a good word, give a smile if you can't speak. Yeah. So yes, I think that's how we can embrace the season and be more courteous to others.
And I appreciate that. And as Alex Miss Destiny, something similar. As you shared that, Miss Vanessa, I'm reflecting on a friend who just gives, of the lot or of the little, but lovingly, willingly. And as you shared, we don't know what that person is facing when they go home, what they're going home to. But it's that love that they give. No fanfare, no sense of, expecting reward, no recognition. Maybe more of us need to have that sense of altruism as opposed to the ulterior motive. So, Ms. Destiny, with that in mind, we're seeing that for many of us, especially now, it is especially challenging to make ourselves available to others without a sense of obligation. How do you share with us so that we see the love, as the L represents in Jennifer's name?
Well, I've recently adapted this new thing where every day I try to meet someone new. And the kind of idea behind this is, like you said, every day you can make an impact. So if every day I meet somebody new, I know that I'm making that conscious impact on that person. And like Vanessa said, that can be a smile. You never know what someone's going through, so if you're smiling at them, you're just asking how their day is. You buy someone lunch, any little interaction with this individual and you don't know them, it's going to go a long way. I believe in the thing, where you pay it forward. You feel the love, so you continue to give the love.
That's it. And with that, thank you so much, Ms. Destiny. Jennifer, many times, many of us who are givers get taken advantage of. We know we're taken advantage of, but we still give because that's our spirit, our nature. And especially when it's our young, whether aged or their such sort of sheltered experience, let me use that phrase deliberately, we are cognizant that we need to make sure that people don't take advantage of them. They're not, I don't want to use the word abuse, but even then, sadly, so that we encourage them to spread their wings, to embrace life, to be giving, but to be cognizant that not everybody who comes with a smile, is well-intentioned. How do we prepare, whether they're 21 or they're looking forward to that in 10 years to be 21?
I think, again, OLM is a unique pageant because it's not just one age group. It's not just one queen. So when you have a queen mother like Miss Dina, and you have a teenage queen like Amber, and you have a younger queen like an Erin, you learn from generation to generation. And Destiny mentioned it earlier, Team OLM. One of the things that OLM looks for is leadership. And whether it is the 7-year-old helping to lead the 3-year-old or the 50-year-old helping to lead the teenager, you are helping people be aware of real life. It is not just what you do on stage. It is how do we act when we're out and about, how to be aware of what's going on in your surroundings. And we kind of travel like a pack of wolves.
Yeah. But it's that mentoring that you're sharing too, and that obligation that many of us have. You talk about the 7-year-old leading the 3-year-old, but many times that 7-year-old could be the influence for the 13-year-old or the 18-year-old, because sometimes we forget that what is around us, knowledge and leadership, isn't a predefined something, right, Miss Bonnet?
I think in that case, when you mentioned the linear way, I think it's also important that we also remember we can learn from the 4-year-old.
Yes.
Me as my age now.
We don't say your age. Yeah.
I won't either. But the 21 to 28, 8, 9 category. Erin teaches you a lot.
Yes,
She's
she does.
very confident, and she reminds us to be our youthful selves sometimes, and remember to say how you feel, and remember to reassure people that I am a princess, regardless if I have a crown or not. And she is very inspirational to me, and I think it's the duality. You can learn from people older than you, but sometimes you have to be humble and remind ourselves that you can also learn from someone younger than you. And that's pageant teaches you that, teaches me at least that every single day.
If it's okay, first to you, Miss Destiny, and certainly I want to be respectful of you guys, so through the chaperone as a director, that I'm mindful of my manners as well. But given the intellect, the enthusiasm, and without question, the great eloquence and confidence that you both possess, I feel confident that I can ask. To Ms. Vanessa's point, the notion that sometimes as we get older, we forget the 4-year-old who sees life sometimes for the first time. And if we can look through that lens and embrace that thing, we might be reminded of gracious and grateful we should be. Is it then that as we age, our society, our parents, our teachers, cause us to be less confident and to start to feel like, you know what, I better not say that or do that because now I'm a 13-year-old or I'm a 31-year-old? Well, how do you, if you don't want to respond just yet, I know Ms. Jennifer will jump in for you, but if you do, go right ahead. Do we beat us down and cause us to not be as confident and not as honest and not as embracing of life?
Okay, so I just want to I want to preface my answer by saying that I am studying to be a teacher. So
thank you.
Right now, I would just piggybacking off of what Vanessa said then about the idea of learning from people younger than you. So I think when you go in the classroom, personally, I want to learn every day, and I feel I can learn a lot from the new generations coming in and out the classroom. And like you were saying about beating them down, I feel like somewhere along the line, this is why youth workers are so important and the enthusiasm you have. Because along the line in the primary schools, I feel like maybe the enthusiasm isn't as much as like vivid when you're dealing with the children. I feel like when it's early years, you're very active, you want to encourage them to explore, but then you kind of get to that stage where we're like, okay, it's time for you to go back in the box. We want you to go this way, and they kind of direct you. But I feel like it's very important that you can direct someone, but you still need them to be able to explore and find out where they want to go.
That sense of individuality and originality. You don't be a carbon copy. It's one thing to lay down your original track or to cover someone else's, female song. Whitney Houston did it with Dolly Parton's, and now very few people realize that it was her song originally because she made her own. But to that, Ms. Jennifer, that originality, that seemingly desire for us as the adult to put that child back in that box, it's a disservice, I think. What do you think?
It absolutely is. And my experience in life with not being inside the box comes from my now 11-year-old son. I was one of those perfect, quote-unquote, students, the kind of girl that everybody was happy to have as a student in their class. I fit in every box. I did all the work. I was never, absent from school, always perfect, always there and always on time. I have an 11-year-old son who looks at me now and he goes, remember, I never walk in a straight line. And he reminds me every day, and it helps with even our pageant training. Not everybody's going to look the same. Not everybody's going to sound the same. And being authentic is so important, especially in this modern world where everybody is on social media. And you want to carbon copy somebody else because, if they made it doing that, well, maybe I can as well.
Yeah.
And it is so important for us to realize that in these evolving years that we have, our kids, like Destiny said, you start out primary school and everybody's, you play, you have fun, everybody's jovial, and then you get to a breaking point. when all of a sudden you were expecting a 10-year-old to sit in a classroom all day long and just write, listen to lectures and write and copy and write and copy.
Right.
And kids are not allowed to be kids. So I think in one way we're forcing ourselves to grow up a little bit too soon.
But is there also a concern, and those who are listening may say, well, how does this fit into pageantry? But it's that training, that sense to embrace yourself, that sense that, you are an ambassador for yourself, for your family, for your organization, for your country. But when we flip that coin over, and I would probably say hopefully it's another coin, we allow certain people to be so expressive that they're disruptive, that they are so far on the fringe that their contribution isn't something that adds positive value, but we're okay to embrace that negativity and call it good. Is that, before I ask our pageant queens, is that, Miss Jennifer, risk that we're now embracing that mantra as opposed to allowing the individual to be expressive, to literally, color outside the box, to stand at the desk without being disruptive and write because, you know what, I've been sitting on all day and need to stretch my legs. Forget about the health benefits. I know Vanessa's going to jump in, but what do you think? You know what? Go, Vanessa. Go ahead. Embrace that.
I understand, first of all, where you're coming from.
Yes, ma'am.
I think growing up, my mom told me too much of anything is not good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we all have our boundaries. We have our different limits. At the same time, each individual is different. We cannot say everyone's limit should be 10 when someone's norm is a 15. We all have different levels of enthusiasm. And I think when it comes to what Dusty said about at a certain age, we tend to not be as enthusiastic. And it's also because of societal pressures. I think on Ms. Jarman, first point, we try to, as students, not be different sometimes because we might get picked on, especially the littler ones, especially in school. You don't want to be too different because you'll be called out on it, and you don't want to be less. And it's just the different boundaries of society. And I think this pageant, along with other youth development programs, tell you that you are going to be different regardless.
Yeah.
You are going to be different. If you're extremely different or you're not different, that is okay. You are different regardless. And I think it's about the different morals that are taught. We as a society, we can't say, someone's rude if that's normal in their society, their culture. We have to also understand that as leaders, we have to be mindful of other perspectives, but we also have to be true to ourselves. So as you said, maybe sometimes it is disruptive, but we have to know the setting we're disruptive in, and we have to know our boundaries for that. Now, of course, you don't want a student running around a classroom, but at the same time, maybe they need playtime.
Right.
Maybe we need to find other avenues so they can be more mobile. We can accommodate certain things, and I guess other things we really can't. But we have room as a society to understand that we can evolve. There's no set rule that to say we have to be this for the rest of our lives. Yeah. And I think that's my point on the fact that, yes, we have different people and different approaches and disruptions. But at the end of the day, we have the ability to move, to evolve, and to accommodate what
while we're inclusive, we also do have to have limits and boundaries and make sure that we're not causing the evolution of society to make boundaries be something that a person is now putting themselves or someone else at risk or in danger just because, color outside the box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So,
I wonder to what extent we have swung the pendulum so far that is exactly what is happening. And not just semantics and the word choices. It's now good to be a disruptor. A business. There's a time when, just by definition, that word, you're disruptive, had a negative connotation. Now, I have personal views as to why we choose to do certain things. But to the aspiring educator, Ms. Destiny, that fact that we see through study two things. We should be standing more, and that younger child not only needs a larger classroom space, but also needs to be able to move about, as Vanessa was sharing. But then the older child, the high school child, maybe it would be beneficial, according to studies that they've conducted, start the school day a little bit later, give them a little bit more sleep. To wonder, and again, this is where this pageantry, the training, the bridges that we're building, give us a chance to be introduced. Those networks that you were talking about, Ms. Destiny. I wonder to what extent we, as the older heads, the parliamentarians, the policymakers, the parents, and the principals, are listening to, the pupils to say we can learn from them, just like the 4-year-old can teach the soon to be 21 plus.
Yeah.
What do you think, Miss Destiny? I mean, are we willing to listen to that young person for whom that experience is real and it's transpiring? Then you'll see me doing a break, wanting to stand up sometimes because I've been sitting down for too long. It's not good for your body. We know that. But yet you're expected to stay in the classroom. Back in my day, the little chair was that size, and you had to scoot in, and your bag went on. You don't remember that, right, Mr. Jennifer?
Oh, no, I did not grow up in your generation.
Yeah, you don't remember that.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's very important to understand where we're coming from, but understand that, like Vanessa said, we're not staying still. We're moving forward. We're going to different places. Our children need to be able to do different things. They're going to live in a different century than we are living in. And I think it's very important. I like this visual that they have in the classrooms where the child put paint on their hands or their fingers and they put it on a paper. And you see all the different fingerprints, and that is a perfect representation of how every child is different. There is no child that's going to be 100% the same. And each child you meet will have a different perspective on a variety of topics. And just having the time to sit down and listen to one or a group of them will broaden your understanding of what the youth are facing nowadays. And I feel like we can't help the youth if we're not going down to their level and understanding how they see it. Because we're seeing it based on our experiences, but those experiences are only valid to what we've went through in the past, not in the future what these children will go through.
Okay. We have, sorry, Michelle, if you want to jump in, I was going to share with you a comment from one of our listeners. But if you want to go ahead?
No, I was going to tag on to what Dustin said. A lot of times we don't have a platform where our students their voices are heard. A lot of times they are talked to all day, but when it's time for them to be heard, they're either talking to their peers or not talking to anyone at all. And I think that is something so important. When we are together as a pageant family, we listen to each other. I want to encourage everybody, whether it is in your household, whether you're a teacher in the classroom, the students, the children, the youth have something to say. And they have a lot of important things to say, and we need to give them the opportunity to be heard.
I do recognize that, we're going to probably close out this discussion shortly, but I'm going to come back to that. What you just shared resonates with this quick exchange with this listener. You talk about, not even my generation. This listener said that, she grew up, and I'll paraphrase, in that era where the mantra seemed to have been, child is to be seen and not heard. I relate to what she shared when she says she didn't have that experience in her household, because that was not my experience. The simple rules that I understood it: you need to respect others' opinions, you need to be willing to craft and support your view, but understanding that your view isn't the only view. It might even be the right view, and unless and until you can accept another view, be quiet, right? Because that has to be our tolerance. But this person also said that to what extent now we have changed. If that was a mantra, have we changed so that the child's view, they feel heard, but also being nurtured that they can't dominate so that they dictate everything. I gave a couple of examples. I recognize one of them where it seems, to what we were saying earlier, that noisy, disruptive environment, whether it's the child or it's the group of children, whether it's the adults, causes such a disruption that the other voices are silenced. Right, Vanessa?
Just to comment on that, I think it's two parts. I'll say them first.
Yes, ma'am.
I think every person, no matter the age, has a child in them. So if you hush the child from young, then you hush the child when they're old. And they will always have that spirit in them to say maybe, and the doubtful voice will become louder.
To be subdued, huh?
Exactly. And I think we should remember as a society that we were once children too. What was, as the person said, yes, it was a space where you were to be seen, not heard. But I think we've evolved past that to say that children do have voices, children have feelings, children have needs besides food, water, and shelter.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, if I feed them I love them. I have a bed for them. They're fine. No, they go to school. They face societal changes. Everything that impacts us as adults sometimes impact the child, and we don't even realize until they say 10 years. Like, you notice that? Yes, they very much do. They're conscious beings as well. So I think to the comment, I do think they're disruptors, and I think there's energy. And this is my second point. In science, it's taught energy cannot be erased. It's just redirected. And I think children that are disruptors could be redirected. If they are running around the class, maybe they need to join track. If they're scribbling on the back of their book, maybe they should be in art. We should facilitate that growth and that talent that they have. As we said in OLM, we are about bracing the person.
Yeah.
So if we see that they are enthusiastic about this, that just may mean that that's their outlet. And how do we facilitate their outlet? Because we all have our outlet.
So is it then, I know it's going to be continuing discussion, so is it then that we, again, back to Ms. Doris, constant reminder, we are a brother's keeper. We need to draw alongside, support and nurture, not because there's pay, recognition or some sort of reward, but because it's the investment in a safe, stable, secure, civil society that we want, where we not only walk without any fear of being robbed, attacked, accosted or something, but also because what we see, we understand that there's a spirit of freedom of expression with a corresponding responsibility. I think you've done an excellent job in OLM, Ms. Jennifer, in not just instructing, not just in nurturing, but in empowering. And hopefully what you do with the young ladies, we can also ensure that our young men literally pull up their pants and socks, raise the bar. I say that I feel so bad for the little fella. When that little fella, he's probably 28, so he's not a little fella. He went to and catch a ride earlier. His pants fell down, he fell down. I laughed. I'm sorry. I know him, and I say, Bobo, a belt, Atlantic sells them. If not, Comark might be open.
Well, on the topic of Atlantic,
see that?
Nice transition. But on the topic of Atlantic, if you would like to support the OLM girls as we are practicing, training, fundraising to go away, we can use the support of the community. We will be at Atlantic for both weekends, this week and next week, Saturday and Friday. And also
Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturday,
okay,
correct, sorry. And Wednesday. Next week. And we'll be out there wrapping gifts, bringing the Christmas chair, hats or crowns, we don't know yet, but we'll see. But we'll be out there, and it'll be nice to see the community support the initiative that we're trying to put forward. This program, as we have been discussing this afternoon, is about the long-term success, about leaders, women in the society, but these women end up being mothers, not just to their own children, but in our society. As Destiny becomes a teacher, I hope to one day become a leader for the children. I don't want to disclose that yet. We'll have to talk about that.
You know people who know people, so that's
exactly. But I think these are the women, the pageant, are the next generation, and there are 7 girls. 7 girls, how many lives will they touch? And I think this pageant will be important to pave that way forward. So if you would like to support us, please meet us at Atlantic. And we'll be there to offer you a smile and wrap your gifts.
Okay. Well, before we ask Ms. Jennifer any final comments, Ms. Destiny, what about you? What do you want to leave with our listeners?
Just want to say, if the gift wrapping wasn't, enticing enough, you'll meet all of our personalities, and I think it's amazing to meet all 7 girls and see how different we are, and just understand, again, like Vanessa and Miss Jennifer have been saying, this pageant embraces everyone in every way, and they're all different, and it's so amazing.
Indeed. Well, the opening words to the closing bell. Jennifer L. Rings loudly. Go right ahead, Mom.
Thank you again for having us today, Destiny and Vanessa. Sorry, I have 7 girls, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute.
I was thinking, Whitney Houston too, but
Whitney, I know, right?
Yeah. She looked at Whitney, yeah.
We'll have to get Vanessa to sing. But it really has been exciting to bring OLM back. Our little miss was a part of my life for many, many years, and shout out to all the past Our Little Miss Queens who have gone on to be Miss Teen Cayman Islands and Miss Cayman Islands themselves. Mariah Tibbetts has actually been part of the coaching team for getting these girls prepared to head away. She was one of my OLM queens way back when. So really it is also not just about these 7 girls, but the ripple effect within our community of people realizing what OLM meant to them when they were a child and how it has encouraged them to go forward. So as we mentioned, we will be out. We're fundraising. So letters are out in the community asking for support. We know there are so many people asking at this time of year, but whether it's a dollar in a bucket or whether it's a smile or just a congratulations and to encourage these young ladies as they go forward in their dream to compete international, but also give back to our own community. You will be seeing these girls not just at Atlantics over the next few weekends, but you'll be seeing all of us across the community giving back and really trying to encourage our young people, young at heart, to really bond together as a community and give their very best and pursue all their dreams.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time this afternoon and the enthusiasm. And I hope that as we look at what we have before us, that we draw alongside each other, not just a spirit of safety and security and festivity and love and honor, but a sense that we are a community because we stand strong together. All right, you do your thing, I do mine. When we come back, there's going to be some open line. Miss Norma Macfield will come in the studio. I'm inviting her to join me. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Elections Office has issued its closure for this Christmas season, closing at 12 p.m. on Friday, December 16th, closed Friday, December 23rd, and closing at 12 p.m. on Friday, December 30th. In international news, the U.S. is planning to send Patriot air defense missiles to Ukraine, U.S. media reports say. President Joe Biden is likely to announce the move this week, according to unnamed officials. Ukraine has been requesting further air defense support for some time, as Russian attacks have continued to kill civilians and cause major blackouts. Patriot is one of the most advanced U.S. air defense systems, but supplies to Ukraine are likely to be limited. Grant Wall died from a ruptured aortic aneurysm while working at the World Cup in Qatar, says his widow. The journalist collapsed in a World Cup press box during the Argentina-Netherlands quarterfinal on Friday. The 48-year-old American had described feeling pressure in his chest in the days leading up to the game. His wife, Celine Grounder, said an autopsy performed by the New York City Medical Examiner's Office concluded there was nothing untoward in his death. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
Busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
They say variety is the spice of life. And that's why at Subway, we're introducing the new Boneless Hot Sub.
Say what?
The premium sub brings new ingredients like spicy breaded boneless chicken, French's crispy fried onions, and buffalo wing sauce, bringing a zesty and flavorful experience with every bite. Add some of your favorite veggies, cheese, and ranch sauce of your choice of freshly baked bread for the ultimate boneless hot sub. For a little spice in your life, try the new Boneless Hot Sub from Subway.
So good and tasty.
And make it a meal with a drink and chips or cookies. Subway. Eat fresh.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza, open Monday to Friday 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
The MedLab family would like to wish the entire Cayman Islands community a very Merry Christmas.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Stop at Funky Tangs, the home of electronics and more. Check out Funky Tangs' 2 locations, Sheridan Road and Countryside Savannah, for loads of fireworks for your Christmas and New Year's celebration. Also in stock at Funky Tangs, both locations, stoves, fridges and small appliances, mini split air conditioning units, sheets and comforters, all sizes, window curtains, cell phones and telephone accessories, musical instruments, karaoke and Bluetooth speakers. New service now available at Funky Tangs, computer and cell phone repairs. Funky Tangs. For more information, call 949-0998. Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous New Year from the management and staff of Funky Tangs.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thank you very much for joining us. I know some of you are watching the game and you're trying to multitask and, pay attention to the talk show as well. So thanks for that. If you're watching the game, I can understand. I'm very appreciative of the people in our lives who accept that there are certain times, not just during football season, not just when there are particular games on during the season, but especially when the World Cup rolls around. We feel justified that it's once every 4 years. This year, a little 4 years and a bit. And so we're forgiven for being less attentive to other things because the games are on. So I respect that and will endeavor, thank goodness to the use of technology, to be able to go and watch it later as well. So if I'm avoiding you, well, don't feel no way. 8949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. What do you think? If you heard any that was shared earlier, where do you want to weigh in and give us your perspective? I think as we get closer and closer to not only the wonderful celebration that is Christmas and the day and its purpose and how we have such reverence, but the importance of spending time in fellowship with family and friends. Not just the breaking of bread as we partake of the wonderful meals that have been prepared, but the notion that we can, for some of us, just relax, unwind, and have that sense of being renewed and refreshed. But are we also cognizant that there are others who are serving in literally many capacities in order that we can have that? So as we take up the calls and hear from you and your respective perspective, I was certainly encouraged by the promise that as the new year rolls in, we might actually have a new mantle to take up, and one that we do so willingly. Let's go to our phones. Good afternoon, welcome, thank you for calling.
Yes, Helen, do eat it all one time now.
No, I think sometimes some meals are so good that you find it is only better the second or third time around, huh?
You know what I mean?
I'll tell you, when you go back for seconds and thirds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, make sure they got my pimples.
Oh, the promise is there. I shall enjoy.
And I know wish you all a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and thanks for listening to us blabbering for the whole year, throughout the whole year. And
it's an honor.
I hope that next week we'll have some more positive to talk about, and some more gain to the island. Than instead of losing, we gain more. In a lot of ways, and hope that the 2 years that government going to that we'll get all kinds of unexpected and good surprises for the people of the island and the island itself, and hear that word say, guess what? Cayman people is getting back some of the Cayman Islands that they have lost down the line. That would be nice to hear for the new year. What do you say?
Well, I think that with anything, there has to be an active, concerted effort to do just that. But I think before we act, we need to acknowledge that something needs to be addressed. And maybe that's where I keep asking of us, all of us who live and work here, but especially those of us who call this home or would like to make this home, that while we're here, that we appreciate that it's important that what we do is positive. And take for instance, you're having a meal, and it could be in your car, it could be in a very, space that isn't so public. Do you take the trash, from the paper to the plastic or the styrofoam that you now finish consume your meal and just toss it out the window? Do you leave it in the car to pile up, or do you take it back and dispose of it properly? And for some of us, because there's nobody around, we just toss it out the window. It may be something that perhaps we saw as an example and we just follow. But if it's not the right thing to do and someone doesn't correct us, we can punish the person by sort of imposing a fine, or we can, remind them through example. Now, it is on us to be that example. But it may not just be the littering. It may be the public display of profanity. It may be the obnoxiousness of some of the music that we play that offends others, right? Not just because of the language in the music, but because of how loud it is. A person is at the beach, just want a little bit of quiet and solitude. You may think that, as Miss Lucy talks about the yaga yaga, and that could apply to all sorts of things, right? Are you playing it in a public space for your personal enjoyment, or is this a concert where those that are assembled expecting that level of, volume? Little things that are not so little that unfortunately become
very large.
So
very large.
we need to do something about, not just expectation, but more importantly, accountability. And
True.
It's not to punish people sometimes as much as it is to, instruct them, educate them,
But
ensure.
Sterling,
Mhm.
the fact of the matter is, they come here and they found it clean. They found it very organized.
Mhm.
They found a lot of friendly people here,
Mhm.
a lot of caring people, a lot of giving people. And all of that is properly towed out of the windows here in this island. And I don't think it's like willfully done. I think that what's happening, people are set up.
Mm.
They lose all faith in
Mhm. But
in enhancing what they so had for so long, and someone come along and kind of mess it up some, and they just got defeated. We got a lot of people here who's defeated. Their own commanders are defeated.
Right.
And as long as our commanders are defeated, we will see that we'll ever get back on our feet. And our biggest problem, Sterling, we need to get back together.
Mhm.
We are not together, and we wonder why the other people are together.
Right. But as I listen to you, and you might be right that some of the behavior, as you said, the people they come here and they find it and they behave a certain way. But two things that immediately jump at me. The first is maybe those people that we talked of come here. It may have been last week. It may have been the last decade. They may have been here for a while. So they're now entrenched. And secondly, that sort of influence we ourselves, right, have our own that seem to take up the notion, if you can't beat them, join them. Feel a sense of being defeated, and we no longer have the courage to speak out against what we think is something that shouldn't be, or to stand and rally for something that should be. Now, is it that, as you share, we don't unite anymore? We don't appreciate the importance of unity, of coming together, as you shared. So if that is the challenge, how do we make sure, as I've been asking almost profusely, how do we make sure that all of us that are here have a shared ethos that says society is
You know where it
one?
starts from, Sterling?
Mm-hmm.
You know where something that will start from?
Mm-hmm. Tell me.
In your neighborhood.
Okay.
Your neighbors are you're surrounded with, and the people that live up above you, they're going to drive by you. A good morning or a toot or a smile, like the show was on there a while ago. Even a smile is a comfort sometimes to the people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you go to the grocery store and you see a cashier real sulky and stuff, you the first thing you say, I say, I'll tell you right now, I say, Miss, I have to eat this food, please. Please put a smile on your face because your day is still long. And the more you smile, the quicker your hours will go by. And the more happy you will be serving your customers.
But it's as I listen to you, I'm looking at a comment from someone here, and I just try to send something to see if I can clarify what I thought the person was sharing. But I think it speaks to the point we were making, where we're increasingly divided. We're devalued, and we're devaluing what it is that we think is important. And is it then that you said we're busy? We no longer value the little things that we think are simple, the smiles, the thank you, the sense of being polite and proper, and all those little virtues that we thought were just something we taught our children, but as adults we don't need to demonstrate, we don't need to abide by. Is that the problem, that we're now too big and we don't need to have the manners that our children are expected?
Feel like we're too big, and the thing that is telling this thing about people coming around when you're sick and you die in bed, or you dead and gone there, but come knocking your door down. And no disrespect to them, don't get me wrong, right? But where were you when I was alive? Where were you when I was up and good and healthy? Why did you check on me before I'm down in the bed now that I can't move? I got a couple here and sit down and wait on a 2 or 3 helpers to come and take care of me, or wait for my son or my daughter to come to feed me.
So then,
where were you all?
Yeah.
We need to come with that to Sterling. Not paying our senior citizens, our people, mind, period. You want to come out here and put our 2 cents in when someone passed away or someone on the bed and all that kind of stuff. When you're up and healthy and running and carrying on, be their friend too.
So then, are we just superficial? Are we just false? In that, to your point, we're no longer genuinely, lovingly sharing with each other, caring for each other, and our relationships are superficial. It's about style and no substance. It's about posturing for that next picture that we're going to post, as opposed to meaningfully connecting with each other with a sense of saying, hey, I know it's a hard time, and I'm lovingly, genuinely, generously giving to you of my little or my lot, without fanfare or no expectation. Is that what has happened? We are just superficial, just false, pretentious.
Somewhat, yes, somewhat. But I wouldn't say 100%, but somewhat.
Yeah.
Some of it is, but I don't think that it's not 100%. And I think that with all the crisis going on throughout the whole world, and this COVID, it even make people even shrink away from even more.
Yeah.
And then the cost of living is climbing rapidly. And like I said, it's not the people here that wants to raise the prices when they go to stores. They have no other choice, because they're sourcing food left, right, and center for this island. No, we don't produce anything but a round cake and a bottle of rum.
Yeah.
That's not enough.
Well, I'm hoping that as you share that, others would appreciate that so much of what impacts us here, the increase in pricing, the cost of living, is sometimes because of external forces that we don't influence. But is there something that we can do here that might help us to negate, to reduce that negative impact? And if so, are we willing to do that?
Darling, you got some who is willing, and you got some who is scared, and you got some who don't care. You got 3 or 4 categories of people and things in the world that people want to get involved in. And some people never care if a plant and grow on this island or a piece of cassava. Then you got others who is hoping, like me, I'm hoping that I get to reap some cassava like I did a couple of months ago. You understand? And my peppers and whatever else that I may reap, it may be small, but I reaped it. You understand?
So you're right.
Go ahead.
No, and I'm glad you raised that. Is it then that for some of us, the growing of the plantains and the bird peppers and the relish peppers and the seasoning peppers and all the spicy things that may give flavor to our life. Is it a fad that we just embrace because it's the trend of the day, or is it that we look at it and turn our noses up because that is for them? That's
the neat thing.
Okay.
We can get it from America.
Right.
We can get it from elsewhere. We just too spoiled in this island. That's all it boils down to, styling.
Is it spoil or is it stupidity?
We just spoiled.
Yeah.
People really spoiled.
And I say that, know that that'll offend some people, but think about it, right? And I say this, yes, ma'am.
Sterling, sweetheart,
yes, ma'am.
We just spoiled rotten, and we did not expect Cayman to grow the way it has grown. The population has grown, but the island width and length has not grown, and it will never grow. It will never grow. So we just
okay.
I think all our past presidents and future governments, we have bite off too much this little baby island. Because tell me, you have absolutely nowhere to run. Nobody here can walk on water. Only one person in life did that, and he can't come and save all of us. I don't think so. I hope he could. I hope he will. If that's the case, but the time England got over their warships, 99.9% of you would drown and can't swim, including myself.
Yes,
I'm going to go to work.
All right. Well, you have a safe afternoon.
Later.
God bless.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Well, I appreciate it. And as I listen to the caller's words and hear the heart, my comments, as to, is it stupidity? Think about it. If that offends you, let it resonate for a second. I say that because of two individuals who, one lives in, one of those areas where, we would look at it as a prestigious area and, sort of ascribe all sorts of niceties to it, who has shared that decided one day very consciously to remove some of the plants in the yard that were ornamental and instead replace them with items that would not only add greater shade, greater economic value, but more importantly, put food on the table. As I understand it, it wasn't intended that the harvest would be so bountiful that, it could give away and offer to neighbors, but even, again, allegedly, offer it to some of the vendors to say, hey, I got extra sticks of cassava, I got some, a few extra hands of bananas, and man, the limes this year came in plentiful. Go ahead and sell it. Come help yourself. And to be, again, allegedly accused of running a farm. No. We probably would say it's okay for the person to have a home office and run a business, a commercial business out of the house, as long as, we don't see the company vehicles marked and the like. Some would say, well, what's wrong with that? Others would say, well, I can understand it. But what if the person has in the backyard a large plot where it's a wonderful, production, where you're getting, leafy greens and you're getting the best tomatoes and the like. Now, that coupled with another individual who probably by day, by examination, expertise and experience would be held in high esteem for the academic and professional competency, only to, sometimes be discredited when people don't see the individual in the normal suit and tie, but they instead see the individual, in the back, planting out, digging holes and pulling weeds and perhaps doing a few things, getting some necessary sunshine that increases the vitamin D intake, getting that exercise, de-stressing the body and the mind. And as I heard the story relayed once, someone saw the individual one day in that garb and was very, demeaning, only to realize sometime later that when they saw him in the regular attire, oh, you're the same person. Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you were the gardener. The response was, well, does that matter? Does that justify your level of contempt and disrespectful tone? Now, some of us need to be reminded that, it doesn't matter our position and place and station in life. We're all human. Those two examples sort of remind me of the importance that, we say, the hand that rocks the cradle perhaps rules the world, but is it the hand that tills the soil, feeds the nation? And if that person is planting and harvesting and sharing, is that not only the thing that may sustain us because we need the food for sustenance and nourishment, but also may provide a greater sense of security for a nation. If we think back to a natural disaster, and we're oftentimes, and I think the PSAs somewhere in its reminder tells us, well, a part of your hurricane preparation, go to the ATMs and take a little extra cash just in case. But what if you're in a space where you have lots of cash that is in an account that doesn't have to be liquidated through some extended process, but it's right there, it's liquid, but you can access it because the infrastructure is down, the ATMs are destroyed, the internet connections through whatever means don't give you that access to be able to go and get the funds. Can you take that money, and other than perhaps doing what was allegedly some of the drug cartels had done, they had so much of it that it was on a cold night, they would set out a light in order to keep warm. Other than that, you probably can't eat it. But that tomato from your backyard, those limes with a little bit of water might help you in some respects. Could that food sustain you, no matter the millions you may have, in your treasure? Well, not to be daunting or too pensive nor offensive to some, but maybe it's time to remind ourselves that during this particular time of year, that we give from that willing heart. And it doesn't matter whether we have a lot or we have a little. We do have, hopefully, a conscience, and we can be considerate, a heart that we can be helpful, and a mind that allows us to consciously think of what we do so that it has a positive impact on others around us. Please enjoy the rest of this afternoon. Come back for Talk Today right after the midday news and midday meditation. I'm very honored to have a number of discussions, including the wonderful company, and pray that his health continues, his schedule allows, and His Excellency will be able to join us tomorrow at 1:15 for a discussion. Always great to know that we live in such a wonderful democracy, that from Her Majesty's representative to our elected parliamentarians, to our senior civil servants, to our civic leaders, to our leadership in our churches, that we can have that level of access and public discussion. And I pray that we don't take that for granted, that we don't do anything that would jeopardize that freedom of movement, that would cause people to A, feel unsafe because of our actions, or B, in their own minds, in a sense of self-importance, that they need to be driven around with bulletproof glass, with high security details like we see in other jurisdictions. That we understand and respect each other because we ourselves are respectful and respectable. All right, have an excellent afternoon. God's willing, we'll see you tomorrow for more Talk Today right after the midday news. Until then, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.